Silliness has been with Jim Carrey since he was a baby, born with a crooked hat. His faces never failed to get a laugh at family parties or at school, where he says being the class clown helped him to make friends. But Jim dropped out of school in grade 9 to mold his act. 2 years later, his first TV appearance. The impressions were there, but the nuances weren't.
Thank you very much. My name is Jimmy Carrey, and I am the President of the United States of America. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Though the nuances are here now, they did not come easily.
And I used to be
Jim struggled trying to perfect his impressions. He usually performed at a popular comedy club in Toronto.
That's a fact.
I used to drive like 50 miles back and forth from Jackson's Point every second night or every night to do a set of Yuck Yucks for free. No pay. Not even a gas stub or anything, nothing. And I used to do that and did that for the longest time and just kept working until people started to take notice, you know, and the rest was history.
At one point, or not at one point, because I hear you still do, you would be in front of a mirror and just make faces all the time.
Yeah. For me, it was so much fun to me to sit in my room and make faces and talk to myself in different voices and things, and I'd go, that looks like Sammy. I just like Sammy, you know? Yeah, he does that, you know, and I just sit for hours doing that, and my parents were so worried. They would, they would say, my mother tried to scare me with the spiritual thing, you know, it's just like, if you don't stop doing that, you're going to see the devil, that kind of thing, and I, of course, that just made me do it more. I mean, I got a lot of support from my parents. That's the one thing that I always appreciated, was that they didn't tell me I was being stupid. They told me I was being funny. Mm-hmm. That was the difference.
When you were 15, your father took you to a comedy club to perform.
Yeah. My mother dresses me in a polyester suit, tells me, this is what all the boys are wearing, and sends me down there. My father helped me write my act, and I went down to the comedy club, and the owner of the club had this little thing that he liked to do where he would stand backstage with a microphone and all kinds of fun effects and, heckle new comedians. And so when I got up there, it was just horrendous. He was like backstage going, totally boring, totally boring, totally boring. They were playing, excerpts from Jesus Christ Superstar, like, crucify him, crucify him, crucify him, that kind of thing. So, when you go through a few of those experiences, you kind of develop a thick skin when it comes to being ridiculed or whatever.
Why didn't you give it up?
I couldn't. I mean, I don't have a trade.
This is my spot. This is the center of the universe. It's where I hang out with Buddha and Krishna and, all those guys. Are you a Buddhist? I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian, I'm whatever you want me to be. It all comes down to the same thing. You're in a loving place or you're in an unloving place. If you're with me right now, we cannot be unhappy. It's not possible. It's not possible. Just try.
His faith is personal and mystical. He believes that miracles will come true if you just believe in them. And he has his life and his career to prove it. But he does think that people who express strong feelings about spirituality run the risk of being labeled a kook.
What the hell? What the hell? Whatever. I just want to be myself. If I lose a few fringe people who can't deal with the fact that there's other forces in the world, that's okay with me.
When I was a kid, I brought relief to my family by taking their painful concerns and alchemizing them into comedy. And they enjoyed watching me play, most of the time. Later, my career in show business blossomed after I made the conscious decision to serve the audience what I thought they really needed to see. Someone who's carefree in the world and treats it all with a healthy dose of irreverence. Yes, that's how I meant to say it. Since very early in my memory, the real thrill in my life wasn't personal recognition as much as knowing that I could affect people in a positive way and have fun doing it. Before I had money, I used to write "Have a nice day" on $20 bills and leave them where I knew people in need would find them. I didn't wait around to see their smiles. I just was satisfied knowing that for one brief moment, I might feel a little bit lucky. As time passed, my interest in people's welfare has grown. But for me, living in this world will always be a game, the object of which is to create as much goodwill as possible. I realize now more than ever that the most valuable commodity in life is the feeling you get when you give. Compassion is the currency that leads to true wealth. I created Better You so I could continue to expand my awareness of what people need, to relieve or prevent suffering wherever possible, and to offer a kind of assistance that allows people to grow towards independence and self-actualization, and a healthy dose of reverence. A better you means a better universe.
Anything that doesn't work out, any show that I might not get, any show that I might do that doesn't turn out well, gets pulled off or something like that, I always think of as this is the way it was supposed to be. That's the way it was supposed to happen. Because there's something bigger down the road. There's something better down the road, and this is happening because I'm not ready. Or, you know, and it's always happened that way. I mean, the first time I ever went to Yuck Yucks when I was 15 years old, I went to Church Street, the old Yuck Yucks. It was 2 lanes of a bowling alley. And I went there, and I was not good. I was all right. I mean, You were 15? I was 15. I had a white polyester suit on my mom put on me. I went down there with Dad and got up on stage, and I was doing all right, really, but the owner of the club got on the mic backstage and started going, "Totally boring," and all of a sudden it wasn't hip enough for them. So I was pretty shattered, and I didn't go back for 2 years. And then my father said when I was 17, I started doing little shows here and there again. And he said, "Why don't you go back to Yuck Yucks?" I said, "No way, I don't want to go back there." And he said, "Well, you should get over it. I mean, if you're gonna go into the business and you want to do it seriously, you can't have those barriers, you know." And I went back and I did great, and I became a regular and a headliner, and it built from there. And then when I went down to Los Angeles, the same thing happened. I went to the Comedy Store. I did all right, but not good enough to become a regular. And I became totally discouraged with the Comedy Store. I came back to Toronto like everybody who doesn't do well down there comes back going, "Oh, I hate Los Angeles. It's such a crummy place. Oh, really? You can't raise kids there," and all that stuff. And Comedy Store is a rat race. It's a rat race. But then 2 years later, again, my father, he says to me, "Well, you should try and get into the Comedy Store." And my manager set up a showcase there. I went in and I did well and became a regular there, and everything has happened from there since. It's been incredible, and it always goes in stages like that. So I accept the fact that I fail, you know, because I know that that's the way it's supposed to be.
I have no education. I had no high school diploma. I didn't even have a GED. I quit high school halfway through grade 10. I didn't have a lot of options. I would be a dishwasher, a waiter, custodial work of some sort. So I decided I might as well go and do something creative. I decided to go to the Comedy Store, the Laugh Factory, and the Improv, you know, all of those clubs every night, and make my $25 a pop a set. It was my version of being a waiter. It was a compromise I decided to make. Out of that came In Living Color, and out of that came touring, auditoriums, 5,000 seaters. It was a really creative time. I was able to prove that I didn't have to be an impressionist, that I had a personality of my own, however abrasive it might be from time to time. But long story short, all of it came from that compromise, from that deciding to do what I didn't want to do. Things you can't do, or the things you're not allowed to do. Like the executives come and say you can't do that, whatever it is, it's too expensive. You get angry, you get out of your mind about it because you've been clinging to this concept and this image that you have of how it should be done. And invariably, most times, after that storm has passed and you actually sit down and go, okay, we can't do it that way, how can we do it? You end up with something even better than what was there before. And you go, that's the universe, that's how it works. Just like relationships, like everything. the thing that is taken away, and you're clinging to it, you're trying to fix, and you're trying to secure it, make sure it doesn't go away. You think your life will be destroyed, everything will be ruined. And it's just the universe going, no, I have something better for you. Just have faith. Sometimes compromise is actually the way to get to what you want. Doing what you don't want is the way to what you do want. On occasion, I would never have made it without going back and doing what I didn't want to do.
Jim, I wanted to ask you, some years ago you wrote yourself a check.
Yes, I did. I guess it's like 6-7 years ago now. I wrote a check out to myself for $10 million for acting services rendered, and
In 1990.
by Thanksgiving 1995. And I put it in my wallet and I carried it for that many years. And what happened was, basically a few months ago we did the deal for the mask for $10 million.
$10 million payment for doing the mask.
Right. Payment for doing the mask too, and so it's very surreal for me. It's strange. And I used to go up to Mulholland Drive every night, sit on the side of the road, look out at the lights, and go, I'm a popular actor. I'm, every director wants to work with me, and I used to like open my arms and imagine things, things that I wanted to come in my way and stuff. And what I would do, it was a way of dealing with, being completely out of work.
Yeah.
I would stay up there until I actually believed that I had all these things, and then I would drive down the mountain feeling like the biggest star in Hollywood, like I was working all the time, like the best people wanted to work with me, and I had my thing in my pocket, my little check in my pocket.
It's our intention. Our intention is everything. Nothing happens on this planet without it. Not one single thing has ever been accomplished without intention. So I started thinking about my life, and I started thinking about this conference and what we're about, and I looked back and I thought, well, I was two people my whole life. I was in the living room entertaining people, being a monkey, doing my thing for the company, and trying to relieve my mother, who was suffering. She had rheumatoid arthritis and phlebitis and everything under the sun that was nagging at her, and she was depressed. And I wanted her to be free. And I wanted her to realize that her life was worth something because she gave birth to someone who was worth something. And then I would go into my room and I would sit with a legal pad. I was a little kid, and I would sit there and I would try to figure out what it meant, what it was all about. Why are we here? What is this? And one day I read something from Buddha that said that all spirituality is about relieving suffering. And I suddenly realized that's what I'm doing in the other room. and I'm aligned. My purpose is aligned with this. So I felt incredibly lucky. I lose sight of that all the time. I get caught up in different concerns and ego concerns. But I'm so lucky to be a part of this community and to do something that is of value. And I really cherish that. And we are all one thing. It really is true. Now, fear is going to be a player in your life, but you get to decide how much. You can spend your whole life imagining ghosts, worrying about the pathway to the future, but all there will ever be is what's happening here, and the decisions we make in this moment, which are based in either love or fear. So many of us choose our path out of fear disguised as practicality. What we really want seems impossibly out of reach and ridiculous to expect, so we never dare to ask the universe for it. I'm saying I'm the proof that you can ask the universe for it. My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that that was possible for him. And so he made a conservative choice. Instead, he got a safe job as an accountant. And when I was 12 years old, he was let go from that safe job. And our family had to do whatever we could to survive. I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which was that you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love.